So here we have the certificate and the rendezvous to deliver it to me from Richie. Did a lot of hard work on it. Anything you want to say?
Congratulations, Sensei. No one deserves it more than you do. We appreciate everything that you've ever done. Thank you.
So I'm making a delivery at Sharp Sensei's house. Haven't seen him in a long time. Looking forward to this. Hello. Hello. You look terrific. I got something for you, long overdue. This is from your friends at Nonka, and it is your 10th Dan Judan certificate.
Thank you.
First, everyone knows Sharp's history. He wrote The Sport of Judo back in like 1955. So we were at the Kodokan in 95 on the 6th floor, and everyone was making a big deal that a major VIP was going to come up to the Kodokan because they wanted to see Sharp. And it was Daigo. And he came up to the 6th floor dojo in his gi, and it was to greet Hal. And it was very apparent to me that the heads of the Kodokan know what he did for judo. And they were actually looking up to him the way it felt when I was there. Like, this is the man who wrote that book and subsequently a few other books, but nonetheless, it's the reason that judo was reinstated by MacArthur after the war, and I believe it helped judo expand to the West in such a big way that led to its inclusion when Japan hosted the Olympics in '64. Judan and Kudan, 9th and 10th Dan, are bestowed ranks, not ranks that you apply for. And they shouldn't have requirements for points and different things, years and grade. I mean, these are ranks like sainthood. You just know when somebody deserves this. And on behalf of Nonka, I was anointed the ambassador to come down here. I'm proud of that and very grateful that I was the one who got to do this. And Sharp son, congratulations. This is your award for all your years in judo. Why don't you hold it for a second while I give you the proper...
Thank you.
Ready?
Well, this is quite an honor. Like my friend Charlie Palmer, we trained together in Japan, and he became the head of the IJF. When, in 1999, I congratulated him on making 10th Dan. And he's, in his typical British way, he says, "Oh, come on, Harold. You know, it's all BS. The only thing that counts is your Shodan." I have to tell you, he's kind of right in a way. You know, when I started judo at the Kodokan, they only had a little pamphlet, a small pamphlet in English. And it had a few photographs of some techniques and names. There was nothing out there in English. So I went to Mr. Tuttle, who was the owner of the Tuttle Publishing, and he lived in Japan then, and he said, "You're right, we need a book on judo, why don't you write one?" Well, I was kind of embarrassed. I'm not an author, but I was very good in photography. So I got a hold of Kobayashi, who was one of my teachers, and I embarrassed him to help me with the book. And it turned out that Pacific Stars and Stripes, the military newspaper, decided to publish it for me. The book sold probably over 250,000 copies. You not only started in '55 with The Sport of Judo, but what, about 8 or 9 years ago, you wrote The Road to Black Belt, the new book you came out with? And your book is the only book in judo. He put QR codes in
and he meticulously tracked down on YouTube or anywhere the best Koshiguruma, the best Harai Gosh, the best Keisagatami. And those QR codes are in the book, so that all you have to do is wave your iPhone or mouse, and you can actually, it'll take you to the hand-picked video that Sharp picked out himself of that technique. This is a guy who was innovating when he was in his 30s, and he's still innovating in his 80s and his 90s. This is the thing that makes the difference on why an award like this makes so much sense.
Hayward Nishioka's son was an art major, and I talked to him about this thing of using video, and he said, we can do that. We can put barcodes in the book, and all I have to do is scan it with they have the barcode on their cell phone, and the whole YouTube will show it. The book is probably the best book I've ever written, because I can talk about, for example, one of the wonderful things I learned in Japan was from Oda. Oda was 9th degree. He probably was one of the, if you want to say, founders of Kosen Judo, which is Newaza Judo. What he realized was that you can learn mat work much faster than standing techniques. And so he developed a whole series of skills on the mat. And one of the things he showed me was how to grip. And he would do a tuck and fold. He'd grab the gi, and with his thumb he'd make a fold, and then make a fold inside your hand, and then you could walk from one place to the other on the gi. And I used that for years, and I used that in my instruction book. I could actually show that being done and have my students do that, duplicate it.
Tell us about the time you asked the Tokyo police champion to show his favorite technique.
It turns out in those days, most of the tournaments were Kohaku style. If when a match was over, if there wasn't a decision, that was asked for the judges to raise a white or red flag. And if it was a draw, they had to continue again. And they could go one more time. But after that, they still had to make a decision. Well, it turns out in Japan then they didn't have coins. And so they did Jonkempo, rock, paper, scissors. And this player from the police, he won 2 matches with Jonkempo. I felt kind of a little silly, but I went after I practiced with him. I said, Sensei, can you please show me your favorite technique? And he stuck his chest out. He was quite proud that I asked him. And he said to me in Japanese, which technique? And I went, Jonkempo. Rock, paper, scissors. All of a sudden, his face turned white. He got angry and he started chasing me. He chased me all around the room, and everybody started laughing. And he stopped and he said, Sharp son, bad boy. A number of years ago, I was in a meeting with Gary Goltz and Hayward Nishioka and John Moe and Lodong. And here I am getting close to my 90s. And the question was, what do I do when I grow up? And so I had an idea of taking all the stuff I've accumulated over the years, my videos and so forth, and make an education website. They all agreed that I should call it the Hal Sharp Judo Teachers Foundation. The purpose of the foundation is to provide a database, YouTubes, PDF files, whatever, so that people in judo have some reference for some of these skills.